Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody always asks why, I'm here to ask, why not? I'll be breaking down the mindsets of guests as well as my own in a bid to find out what makes people say, why not? Welcome to the Why Not podcast, hosted by Chrissy and Yvonne. In a world where everyone asks why, we're here to ask, why not? Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. I'm a fitness coach and part-time equestrian. My aim with Why Not is to help people overcome mindset issues they may have by relating my own experience and what I've learned. Also, bringing on guests to relay their experience too. Hope you enjoy. Okay, here is take 2. Okay, welcome back to the Why Not podcast. This is in fact take 2 of this week's podcast. The original one decided for some reason not to record. So you can imagine how excited I was when I went to go and edit it today so I can have it ready to go for tomorrow morning, only to find that there was no audio. And I spent 29 minutes talking to nothing. So yeah, but as I said, these things, I didn't say it, but anyway. But these things happen. So all I can do is try again. And to be honest, yesterday's podcast was one that I kind of gone a bit deep in, and I kind of built myself up to doing it, and I don't really feel like re-recording it. So I think it just shows that I'm not supposed to show my emotions to the world. I'll take it as a sign. And instead, I'm recording now. I'm going to do something completely different, and it's kind of going to be a see how I go kind of podcast. I'm going to maybe call it a random episode. I'll kind of come up with things as I go. It's kind of a record and talk situation because I very much so planned out yesterday, and it just didn't happen. Which brings me to my first idea of topic of discussion, which is, what do we do when things don't go our way? And this is a very good example here. I had everything planned. I normally record on a Wednesday, I edit on a Thursday, and then I have it ready to go for 7 a.m. Friday morning. Unfortunately, what happened this week was that didn't happen. I recorded on Wednesday. I went to edit on Thursday, and there was no podcast for Friday. So I've kind of had to rejig my day a little bit because it does take me a bit of time to record the podcast, and then it takes at least a time of the podcast, if not longer, to edit. But sure, look, I'm dedicated. I decided not to throw a tantrum and have no podcast out this week because I know all of you 4 fans would be devastated if I did not put it out there. And yeah, so I think this can happen a lot to us in life in various different occasions and different things. Something you wanted to do didn't happen, a weight loss goal or fat loss goal didn't happen. And I suppose just because it doesn't happen in the way you envisioned it doesn't mean you should stop. So it's happened to me in other cases before, and I've just taken it as I'll give up. Whereas in this scenario, I was determined. I will not be beaten by technology. I'll always be beaten by technology. I'm not very good at it. But I was going to go on and I was going to re-record and I was going to get something out. So apologies if this is all haphazard. This is a little bit press the button and record. But sometimes as well, that's all you can do. You can just press the button and record, or get what you can. Like if it's a deadline, if it's something, I don't know, like if it's the deadline, if it's an article, if it's a goal, do the best of what you have, put that forward, because anything is better than nothing. Like same thing if we're looking at this from like a weight loss perspective, you expected to drop a certain amount of weight, or you were expecting to lose a certain amount of inches. I'm going to go lose a certain amount of inches off say your waist. And you're, say, 2, 3, 4 inches short, but you still lost 2. Would you give up then? Like, if you keep going, what you have to show is that you're making progress. But if you gave up straight away and just went back, the likelihood is you'll bring back those inches that you had. So I think we need to remember that, like, things don't always go exactly to plan, but how we deal with it is really what sets apart those who can succeed and those who don't. So if you're the person who throws in the towel the first time there's one little roadblock, it's going to happen. That's going to be it. If you're the type of person who goes, okay, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I'm going to use that and I'm going to push through, like, it's a lot better. We always want everything to be perfect. We want always the perfect set of conditions for us to do anything. And the problem is, if you're waiting for that, you'll be waiting forever. So let's go, for instance, again, I'm just talking about fitness and stuff like that. A lot of it comes back to it because that's my job. But you could have been like, right, January, that's it. I'm starting in the gym. And then suddenly it's like, oh no, there's no gyms. How can I start? What do you mean? If the scenario is not perfect, I may as well keep eating junk and drinking and all that and for the next few months until the gym's open. And then it could be February, March then, and the gym's reopen. You're like, oh, well, look, I might be able to go on holidays now. What's the point of starting now? I'm going on holidays. And then you come back and it's June and you're like, the weather's too nice. I can't start now. I'll have to wait. And then maybe September rolls around and you're like, Jez, I'm too busy with the kids now. They have to get them all sorted for school and everything back. Now, this is just completely hypothetical. God knows we could be in lockdown till October. I'm joking. We probably won't. But my point being is, if you're always waiting for the perfect set of conditions, they're never going to come. So you just have to roll with it. So like here, I had everything set up yesterday. I had a fairly good, as a nearly perfect set of conditions. What happened was I had my notes, I had everything ready to go. I hit record and apparently it took no sound. By the way, I've checked this one before I started again because I was like, no, can't have this happen. So it should be recording. If it's not recording, I will in fact give up. But you're listening to it now, so obviously it recorded and I did not give up. And me willing it because I'm not fully certain. I'm sure it is, nearly sure, but not fully certain. And waiting for the perfect set of conditions, they're never going to come. So why not start today? Start with what you have and build on it. This could be including applying for a job. I don't have that full set of qualifications, or maybe I'm working on it but I'm not there yet. Why not throw your name in the hat? You can go again. You can contact them again. They can just say no. It doesn't mean you can't come back again and apply again if something comes up in the future. And sometimes as well, I think on top of that, we overanalyze everything. So our conditions are near perfect, but now we don't know where to start. So we turn into paralysis by analysis. And all you're thinking is, I don't know where to start. There's so many different things. Oh my God, what if I get it wrong? What if I pick the wrong thing? What if I do the wrong diet? What if I use the wrong font in my CV? Anything like that can be a thing, when really just starting is the main thing. So don't worry about your diet. Go for a few more walks than you have been. Drink a bit more water. That can be the start. Your font in your CV, look, just go Times New Roman. It doesn't need to be fancy. And I think I've definitely been a victim of this. Like, I'm trying to do stuff and training's fine. I know the program training, but if it comes to sometimes programming for classes that I've been doing for years, suddenly I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. What if I pick the wrong exercise? At the end of the day, it's really hard to go wrong unless you're trying to do these crazy exercises. I'm not getting anyone to try and balance on one arm while doing a bicep curl with the other. Try to picture how that would work. I am too. I'm not really sure how it would. But you know what I'm saying? You know what to do, and if worst comes to worst, you can always go back to the basics. Something you should definitely think about, like basics. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Stop trying to make it more complicated than it is. What steps can you take in this moment that'll bring you a tiny bit closer to your goal? And I think people overlook that. They're too busy making it complicated and making it difficult so much that they don't do anything in the end. And I'm not saying I have not been one of those people. I most certainly have. I have blanked out on things so many times. But, you know, as I said, sometimes you just have to hit record and hope for the best, which is really what I'm doing now. I think another thing we need to talk about, it kind of being January, and us getting to the last bit of January, is our tendency to take on too many things at once. We have a bit of an all or nothing approach in life. Either, as I said, like, again, bring it back to the fitness. I'm sorry, it's what I do. Also, it's January, it's really easy to do this. At the start of January, we all tend to go, right, that's it. No food that's bad. By the way, no food. No, there's no good or bad food. There's nutritious or less nutritious. Let's look at it that way, but not good or bad. Side note. So you take out all the bad food, which is be like what we call our, like, you know, chocolate. You probably ban alcohol, maybe, I don't know, probably not this year. You're living on lettuce and air. You're hungry all of the time, but you're trying to suppress that with 4 cups of coffee a day. Unless your new regime, because they are like regimes, don't allow caffeine, and that's just cruel. I would never do anything if I was doing some form of work transformation or whatever they call it, and they were like, don't drink caffeine. I'd be like, get fucked, I'm out. But you're doing this very strict diet, let's say, and then on top of that you're trying to train like 8 times a week, and no wonder you're knackered by now, by the way, and just fed up of it all. I would say normally by now, if you'd gone cold turkey on the alcohol, you're dying for a drink. I have a feeling, as I said, this year most people aren't going cold turkey on the alcohol because they want some joy left in life. But anyway, it's normally around this point or the start of February where you haven't lost the whatever amount of pounds you were promised, and you just go, fuck it, and you eat everything. And you just go, and it's like takeaway after takeaway with dessert and biscuits for breakfast. It's like Christmas all over again. You're drinking, washing it all down with as much wine or gin or beer or whatever you can. And then you kind of maybe do a week of this, and then you're on the scales again. You're like, Jesus, I put everything back up. Why did I even bother in the first place? Well, the thing is, you probably try to take on too much all at once instead of slowly changing those habits. So starting by getting a little bit more active, maybe doing 2 workouts in the week and going for a few walks and drinking a bit more water. You were trying to do, as I said, 8 workouts in a week and probably runs in between, and, you know, every which way possible. While on a very strict diet, there's only so much you can do before you're buying the snaps and you're done. Personally, I wouldn't be able to do any of it, and I enjoy training. So if you're someone who doesn't really enjoy training and you're wondering why you're struggling, heads up, that's why. And I think, as I said, if you snap on that, then you're like, oh, I failed again, that's it, I'm a failure, no point trying. Until it's like holiday time and you want to go away and you want to look good when you're going away. What I'm trying to say here is we need to get rid of that all or nothing approach to everything and try and have a little bit of patience and use this month to set new habits that we can bring in through the year and actually make that change that we've been trying to do for years. And I know you can say, oh, well, the gyms are closed. Oh, you know, lockdown, can't do anything. What's the point? When, if you look at it this way, if you're working from home, fabulous. You can now plan your meals for the week, because you're at home. You can go to the shop and have it there. And instead of you trying to remember to have something cooked and done, you can do it on the day. You can literally have everything set out for you. That hour you're not commuting, get off your phone, get off Facebook, get off Netflix, spend that hour going for a walk or doing a little workout. Like, there's so many home workouts you can find online. If you look at my Instagram page, there's plenty of them as well. So, and as I said, you don't have to be mine. So many. You can just go up on YouTube, you'll find something. You could even do like a dance workout if you don't like doing resistance based, or you can go out for a walk, as I said, or a run. So again, we're already making things. It's already easier now when you think about it to do that. You've taken out maybe 2 hours out of your day, you've 2 hours extra. You can get way more done. You can train on your lunch break if you want to, because if you go back to the desk sweaty, no one's going to know, unless you're one who's doing a lot of face-to-face meetings. I understand if you're not doing it for that. Another thing, like, I know people don't like training on their own. It can be a big thing. It's a big draw of like going to a gym or going to a class. You've got people who are like, with you get a bit of banter, and okay, not ideal, but who's to say you can't video call your friend while you're doing the workout, and you guys can go on together and comment on it and take your rest breaks together. Or a lot of these apps as well, like the running apps, I think Strava does it. Other ones, you can be friends. Fitbit as well, actually. You can have friends on Fitbit, and you guys can challenge each other to step competitions, or you can challenge each other to different walks. So like, you could be like, you can see your mate and be like, oh, have you gone today? So in that way, you can be accountable with each other while keeping the social distancing in play. So for every reason you have not to do it, I can give you at least one reason or one way around that. And I think we need to think about that, because I think a lot of people at the moment are in a very nothing mindset, because again, in your head, the conditions couldn't be worse. Whereas there is a lot of people out there and using this time to work on what they never were able to. Not never were able to, but it was a lot more difficult to do it. And this mightn't be working out. Like I just said, it always comes back to that first with me, because I'm a personal trainer, and then secondly as well, like, it's January, it's like basically a health kick month, and then we all go off the wagon in February. This, as I said, this could be anything. So like, say for instance, if you like painting, or you like sewing, I don't know, or you like writing or reading. Now, it might be hard for you to do that before, because, as I said, work and stuff and the commute and all that. Like reading, obviously, a lot of the time, if you're on the train, you can read. If you're driving, not so easily, but you can have audiobooks and all and stuff like that, or podcasts. But this could be your time to start painting. You have the time now. Or start reading. What's that book that's sitting on your shelf that you've been wanting to read for so long and you're buzzing to read? Pick it up, read 10 pages, or even less, read 1 page, and then see how it takes you. This is a great time to utilize the time for you. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying you have to be productive and amazing and great and all that stuff, but you might find doing one little thing here or there that you've been missing or that you haven't been doing will really make a difference. And would you not rather try that than sit there and feel bad? I know I'd rather do stuff that I enjoy, and I know it's not easy. I'm not telling you, hey, stop being miserable. Okay, Deadly, you're fine now. I'm just saying, doing things that bring you joy, like, will help you through a time like this. You know what I'm saying? Moving on through my little ramble fest. Some things that may be making you miserable without you realizing do include constantly scrolling through social media and comparing yourself to people. And I no, you can say maybe you don't, but to be fair, come on, let's do it. I would say I have a fairly good filter in it. I have my feed fairly curated with just people I say admire and people I won't feel bad about looking, but also then even knowing full well why they are where they are, I question it from time to time. Sometimes I'm like, oh, why are they doing better than me? And I have to keep reminding myself because they've done the work. I haven't done that work yet. And as they know, comparison is the thief of joy. I don't know if we've heard this one. It's a very good quote. So if you're spending a load of time scrolling through social media, the likelihood is you're going to start comparing yourself. And even the strongest of minds, best way of saying this, most self-confident, strongest of people will feel like that after time. We need to remember that, and I think stop putting yourself in that position. Turn off the phone a little bit. We've all seen it. We've all seen everyone say it. Limit screen time, you'll feel better. You're like, yeah, but I don't feel that bad anyway. Well, have you tried it? Try it, even just for an evening, couple hours even, just get rid of it, put it out your way. Help yourself feel a little bit better. You'd be fidgeting. Like I've started putting my phone away a few evenings a week, and you do be almost like reaching for the phantom phone, going, what the fuck is that? Oh, yeah. What do I do with my hands now? You feel like almost like a smoker who's giving up smoking. What do I do with my hands? How do I do this? I'm not joking, like seriously. Happens to me all the time. I'll be like shifting the blanket. I'm like, now where's the phone? Oh, it's not there. And deliberately, if you are doing this, limiting your time, phone in different room. I'm telling you, if there's an emergency big enough, they'll find a way of contacting you. I have realized this because every time I've done it, I've been like, oh, what if something happens? And then just before I go to bed, I lift it up and I check the messages, and funnily enough, nothing has happened. So there's a tip for you. And another tip, and you're going to hate me for saying this, and I'm going to sound like such a sanctimonious so-and-so for saying this. Look at me, I'm cleaning my act up saying so-and-so instead of what I really wanted to say. Take a break from the drink. I say this as someone who has done for most of the month of January. Now, I only started on the first Monday of January because, let myself have the last weekend. But it does make you a lot clearer. It makes you able to hit your goals a lot easier. And by the way, I'm not saying I'm never drinking again. I'm just saying at the moment it is much better for me. And I think especially in a time like this, we can tend to use alcohol as a crutch to help us through how we're feeling. And really that is not helpful, or it's numbing how you're feeling or numbing what's going on around you. And really that's not helping. Now, my previous podcast was all about letting your feelings in. I am the master of pushing my emotions down. But what I must say is I've actually personally found this lockdown a little bit easier because I'm not waiting until the weekend to get locked, to die on Sunday, to get up Monday and try and start my week again and start trying to be. I always find, funnily enough, people are like, start fresh on a Monday. I'm always like, oh, I cannot be starting on a Monday. I'll start on Tuesday. And the reason a lot of time being is you kind of have residual hangover from Sunday, depending on how heavy your Saturday night was. Now, again, it might not be the amount of drink that you've drank. It could be that you're just like, I don't know about anyone else, but sometimes you have a bit of anxiety. You just feel really low after a night of drinking, and it tires you out. Even if you don't say quote unquote get drunk, if you don't drink a lot like you thought what you would consider a lot, there is that kind of sluggishness every day after. So I think that was always filtering into my Monday. I'd end up skipping a workout, or I wouldn't be all there. Not all there, but you know what I mean? I'd almost be waiting for your nap, and that's it. I'm still waiting for my naps on the days at the moment, but I'm fresher, my mind's clearer, and it's a lot easier to get up when I don't want to, when I don't have that sluggishness, is what I'm trying to say, I think. Now, again, everyone's probably like, oh, boo, trash out. But I'm just telling you, if you're miserable and then you're having a drink and then you're feeling more miserable the next day, might be a hint that you need to take a break. I'm not saying give up forever. I'm just saying sometimes you take a break, because sometimes you drink out of habit. You're just like, well, it's Friday night, it's when I always drink, or it's Saturday night, it's when I always drink. And breaking those habits for a while can be great for you as well. Again, just suggestion, you don't have to do it. I personally find it good, and I find it making it easier. I find it makes it easier to get through this lockdown because I'm dealing with stress in different ways. And I think with those two lovely little lectures telling people to keep away from their phones and stop drinking, being the most boring person ever, I think I'm going to wrap up this podcast. I'm going to call this the random episode because I had lots of different directions, I think, with a kind of similar theme. But again, I don't really know where I was going with everything, because this was, as I said, I just pressed record and see where it went instead of structuring one. And I'm sure I'm going to love editing this, because I'd be like, Chrissy, what the hell were you shouting on about? And hopefully you guys aren't thinking that, and I made some semblance of sense. But as ever, I want to thank you all for listening to the podcast. I love hearing feedback on it, or see how you're finding it. And if there is any topics you would like me to cover, or any people who would like to come on and get interviewed, they are always welcome. You are always welcome. And I want to thank everyone for listening again. And if you are looking for me, you will find me on social media. On Instagram, my name is Chrissy H Fitness, so CH or ISSY, H for Hawkins, and Fitness. And then you'll also find me on TikTok, which is where you see me acting the absolute idiot. And I'm Chrissy H Fit on that one. I should probably change it to Fitness, but I'll deal with that when it comes to it. So, yep, thanks again for listening. Hope you enjoyed my more rambling than usual type podcast. And I'll talk to you all again next week. Thank you again for listening to Why Not. Please hit that subscribe button or leave a review. And if you have any suggestions or feedback, feel free to hit me up on social media.